Hey guys, get ready with me for a date. Except I'm literally panicking. Look at my nose. Why am I Rudolph? The hair, the nose. This is crazy. I look insane. I promise y'all are just gonna have to trust the process. This is actually my first time hanging out with this guy, which makes this the worst timing. But we're gonna go play mini golf and then we're gonna go eat. We haven't been talking for too long, but he's super sweet and we get along really well. I like to share stuff like this with y'all, but I want to keep his identity a secret for now in case things go south. We all remember what happened with the F1 thing and my friend, so I'm a little scarred from talking about people on the internet. He is 6'5" and he's really good at football. He's also very searchable on the internet, so I'm not gonna tell y'all anything else. Anyways, I'm getting so nervous because I don't know, I don't go on dates with that many people. Like, what if I just get awkward and don't know what to talk about? I have to use one of those AI dating advice apps. Be talking and I'll like whip out Ask Elle and just like, I'm totally kidding. I would never do that. Anyways, before I go, I have to stop by my friend's grad party because she's a lucky duck and graduated early. I'm going straight from that to my date. I still don't know what I'm wearing because what does one wear to a grad party, then mini golf, then dinner? Because I don't know. I'm thinking skirt and sweater. Why am I actually late to everything? Crap, this is the wrong shade. I did get a new mascara, so there's some light at the end of this tunnel. The old one was just so dried up. I actually need to work on my showing up lateness because it's like the worst trait to have. When it comes down to show up late or show up ugly, like I don't want to be ugly. I'm just gonna add some highlighter and then I'm gonna get dressed and fix my hair. We're gonna take this out really quick. Holy crap, okay. Am I cooked? I think so. I have to take the bobby pins out of my hair. Holy volume, okay. I just got a bit. I like need some spray or something in it, but it turned out pretty good. Okay, bye guys, love you.
I just watched a video of a girl that said she doesn't have many girlfriends, and all of the comments were saying there's always a reason, she must be the problem, but I think the exact opposite. I think that the realest girls are the ones that don't have a ton of friends. Think of the fakest girl you know right now. Let me guess, she has a ton of friends. Those are the ones you gotta watch out for. The girls with no friends aren't out here trying to be liked by everybody. And it's not that they can't make friends, they just don't need to be friends with everyone. They don't need all that fake shit. Those are the type of girls that are actually gonna have your back when it matters because they value loyalty and real good connections. And the girl with a ton of friends is always going to be the first one talking shit because they thrive off drama and attention.
My ex tried to cheat on me, so this is what I did. So my ex would always sleep with his phone on his pocket, which I always thought is a red flag, obviously. Like, I knew that every girl would, but I just didn't think anything of it. And so one night it slipped out of his sweats probably, and I woke up with it near my legs. He was still asleep. I was going to honestly put it on the charger, but I saw a bunch of messages from a dating app. I was obviously furious and I wanted to slap him awake, but I didn't. I decided I was going to be smarter than that. So started thinking, what can I do? Like, what can I possibly do in this situation? What can I possibly do that is going to be, a good enough revenge? So I decided I was going to create a fake profile. So I asked one of my friends that he hadn't met to send me, like I asked her if I could use her pictures to create a fake dating profile so I could see if we matched, to see, if I could get a nice revenge. She was 100% his type. I knew that, they would match. I knew that he was going to match with her. So that's what happened. So my fake profile and him, we started talking. Obviously, I'm blinded with aggression and adrenaline inside of me all the way through this. We started talking, flirting and everything. So I suggest we have to go full force with it. So I suggest, after a lot of flirting, that we should meet up. I suggested he paid us a hotel room, and he said yes. Mind you, he is unemployed. I've been providing for this relationship, or in this relationship, since he's been unemployed. So he's been draining my savings account for about a year. Now he accepts to pay for a random girl's hotel room. He'd be so manipulative with it. He'd make me feel really guilty if I didn't help him with money. Like, he'd be like, we're family. This is what family's supposed to do. We're supposed to help each other when we're going through tough spots. I'm gonna do another part because this is too long, but let me just leave you with this. After he had talked to this girl and we had arranged the hotel room and everything, he comes and he asks me, the real me, not the dating app me, for $50 because of his mom's birthday. He has the balls to ask me for money. $50. And I, at this point, it's just funny to me. So I do. I give him $50. And I still remember that stupid smile on his face after I give him the $50 for his mom's birthday. And so he leaves for the weekend to go to his mom's, and he doesn't go to his mom's.
Now, why did my principal have to come in the intercom this Monday to tell us that they can see everything that you write on the Google Docs because 2 freshmen were getting freaky on them? And it's honestly like an interesting story. So grab some popcorn and okay, in the beginning of the year, we have this table of 4, me included, where it's like this girl, like these 2 other girls and then this girl who is the one about that the story is about. Let's name her, let's say her name is Maddie. So in that class, like a guy from that class asked for her number, and we were like, he looked a little off, and we told her from the beginning, like, I don't think you should give your number to him, whatever. But she gave her number to him, and they started talking. We were like, but her problem, like, she does whatever makes her happy. We're not gonna get into that. So like a week or 2 later, we see them like holding hands. They were already dating, pretty much. They were boyfriend and girlfriend in like less than a month. But she has like strict parents, and her parents do not allow her to have a boyfriend or anything until she's like older. But there's one teacher who, maybe I'll make a story time about her because I do not have enough information, but like she is this teacher, nobody likes her. Let's call her Miss D. So Miss D, she said the N-word to some students, and she's called Hispanic kids beaners and all of those things. So whatever. So this teacher like saw her and the boyfriend that she got kissing in the hallway, so she snapped a picture of them, which is not allowed without the student's consent or the parents' consent, and then she sent the picture to the girl's dad. Now the girl's dad is like really very 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 strict about boys, and then she got like all her electronics taken away, like everything taken away, she told us. But I forgot to mention that we only know certain parts of the story because when she got the boyfriend in that class, she just sat with him and then they started ignoring. Like whenever he was there, she would just sit with him and then ignore us completely, and just like we were somewhere else and whatever. So the days that he wouldn't come to school, she would sit with us and then she would tell us like parts of like what was happening. Basically, she got everything taken away, so she like started like the only way of texting him, of messaging him, was through a shared Google Doc. You know, like when you share it, 2 people can access the document and edit it. So whatever. And the school, one time I wrote like because I was doing the same thing with my friend in the same class, because we couldn't have our phones, and I wrote KMS, like kill myself, because we had like some assignment or whatever, and I got called down to the office, and I was like asked, are you okay? You wrote KMS, like we're worried about you, like whatever. So you know where this is going already, obviously. Basically, the girl, like, this last week, like, last Saturday, she supposedly sneaked out of her house, and then met up with this guy, and then they, you know, they did that, and then, like, it was all written, I guess, on the Google Doc, like, it was all planned out and whatever. But the thing is that, like, they didn't use protection. So they didn't use protection, and obviously, like, to not risk her getting pregnant, she gives him $50 to like go get a plan B and give it to her. But obviously all of this was recorded on the Google Doc. So obviously like on Monday, I guess they get called onto the office, and then the guy's Muslim. So keep this in mind, Muslims, and I have the understanding that they cannot have sex before marriage. Like it's like against their religion, like everything, whatever. And she's Christian, and she like goes to church every Sunday. So yeah, it's really something. So obviously like the guy's mom gets called, or heck, his parents get called onto the office, and like now his mom like knows what she did and whatever. But then the girl had to beg, like Maddie had to beg her dad, like the deans, to not call her dad, because like don't call, like call my mom, don't call my dad, because like my dad this and this and that, because like obviously like she said that her dad would kick her out of the house like with one more strike, because he was like done, because like she lied to her she lied to them or whatever, and then she had a boyfriend, she wasn't allowed to, blah 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 blah. So she has not been to, I'm worried, like she has not been to school. I don't know what happened, like I have no idea, I don't know. The craziest part, these are freshmen. I think I said that actually. They're 14, I think. I don't know if the guy's 15 or 14, but they're 14 and 15. And yeah, I don't know. And then people are already saying like, oh, she's probably pregnant, whatever. I'm not, those are just allegations, but it's just crazy. It's crazy to me. Like, honestly, in the beginning of the school year, it's kind of insane. And like, our table was talking about it. We were like, this could all of this could have been prevented. Like, maybe talk about it through Gmail, but not even, like, I don't know, bro. And also the kid, the girl's boyfriend, Maddie's boyfriend, has like some allegations of like he vapes, like smokes vapes or drinks and stuff, and that is also against the religion. So I really don't know like what's going on there. I guess he's like in some deep, I don't know, but that's what's up. And it's baffling. It's really crazy because getting freaky on a Google Doc is just another level. Like, I'm sorry, Google Doc. And I know I mentioned that, like, oh, we sat at the same table, but we're not friends with her because, like, we wanted to be, like, her friend and whatever, but she, like, every single time that the guy showed up, she would just, like, completely, like, ignore us and set us apart for the guy, so we were like, okay, like, what the hell? And the thing is, their tables are, like, this is our table and this is his table, and then they're sitting, like, right at the edge, so they're, like this, pretty much, but it's just, like, a little separation, and then she just moves to his table, like, every time he's there, so, I don't know. Like, honestly, if you want it to be that way, go for it. And then, like, we told her, like, maybe you should break up with him because it's, like, probably the best thing to do. She was like, no, I love him. I'm not gonna judge them. Everybody has, like, that thing. But, yeah, I don't know, guys. I just wanted to share that. It's crazy.
What are you gonna be for Halloween? Well, I was hoping I could be your boyfriend.
I just found out that my partner of 8 years lied about his age by a lot, and I just want to know what you would do if you found this out. So back in 2016, I met and fell in love with a guy, and I'll call him Max just for the sake of this story. Max and I hit it off super quickly, and our relationship pretty much immediately started. I was 21, almost 22 at the time. In the first week or two of meeting him, I asked him how old he was, and he's the type of person that just kind of looks like he could be any age. I had no idea at that point, so that's why I asked. At first, he completely avoided the question and was just like, how old do I look? And at first, I guessed like 28 to 30. He smiled and just was like, yeah, you're right. But I pushed for the exact age, and he admitted that he was actually 36. And then he asked me if that was okay with him, and at the time, my age gap allowance was like 7 to 10 years, so 15 years was definitely confronting. But we got along so great, and I really, really liked him, so I eventually just told him that was okay with me, but that would be like the maximum age gap that I would be okay with. And we went on to be in a long-term loving relationship for like 7-ish years. Currently, 2024, as you guys are probably aware of, and we are going through a very, very long, drawn-out, heartbreaking breakup. It's complicated, and I don't really have time to get into all those details right now.
Something interesting about me is that every single person in my family has had a stalker. My whole family being me, my older sister, my mom, and my dad. I didn't really put 2 and 2 together that everyone had had a stalker until my parents and my sister were trying to give me advice on my own situation that I realized, oh, so we've all dealt with a stalker before, cool. A big difference is that both of my parents' stalkers were of the opposite gender, versus me and my sister both had stalkers that were girls. So whenever I would tell this story, people would be like, hold on, she? For me, it all started in my freshman year of college. She was in the same class as I was. I think her and I had a total of maybe 2 conversations, if I'm being generous. I could tell that there was something just a little bit off about her. One of the interactions I had with her, I remember it was me and one of my really good friends who was also in the class that we had together. And me and her were just looking back and forth because she was making such weird comments and just acting very strange. That was the last in-person conversation I had with her before she DM'd me asking to hang out. And obviously, based on the first interaction I had with her, I personally wasn't going to be fake or lead her on when I knew I didn't want to pursue a friendship. Months go by and she texted me asking if we could get drinks or something. It was via Instagram DM, so I just never opened the DM until a couple months later. I finally opened it and saw a massive paragraph in all caps full of rageful text. I am gonna be so honest, it was so incoherent and I couldn't even tell you what she was talking about. All I remember is responding, "I'm sorry, what?" ? And then she blocked me. At this point, I was super confused, but I was like, honestly, whatever. She clearly has something going on. I know I didn't do anything, so I just ignored it and moved past it. After this, I saw her a couple of times on and around campus, and she did not look well. Her hair was like matted, her skin was so dry and peeling off. I don't know what it was, but she just looked so not okay, like she was not taking care of herself. And every time I saw her, she avoided eye contact, she didn't look at me, she completely avoided me and ignored me. I just left her alone. If she was gonna leave me alone, I was gonna leave her alone. Summer came, I thought it was all over until about the middle of summer, I started receiving texts ranging from people who I went to high school with all the way in California and people who I had never even spoke to in my college. I ran out of time, so go to part 2 if you want to watch the rest of the story.
Hiya, Georgie.
One of my best friends, literally one of the most beautiful women you will ever see in your life, has been seeing this guy. And I'll tell you what, from the fucking beginning, I've had a bad feeling about it. I can't really put a finger on why, but it might be when she told me that they've been together for 3 years and she still hasn't met his mom, or that he cancels on plans last minute, or that he's a very private person. The entire time she was in a relationship with this man, I would always be like, girl, I'm telling you, he's living a double life. We were on the phone and she was telling me that about 5 months ago, he told her out of the blue that he just found out that he has a 2-year-old kid. And there were all these other details. It just didn't make sense. Nothing ever made sense. So I went, bitch, we're dropping off the kids at school and we're gonna go pay a little visit to his mommy that you haven't met for the last 3 years. Oh, I forgot that kicker. She hasn't met his mom, but he lives with his mom. He's also 35 years old. I think it's time we introduce ourselves. So the old lady opens the door and my friend goes, hi, I'm so-and-so. I've been with your son for 3 years and I have always wanted to meet you, but I've been told that I can't because you hate me. And the old lady says, I have never heard of you.
Of course you haven't!
Oh, and that's just the beginning, bitch. Wait for part 2 on all the other shit that unravels.
Guys, I have an update on TikTok boy. Okay, if you're new here, basically to fill y'all in, he's a boy that I saw on my For You page. And basically I followed him and messaged him and I was so scared. But he ended up following me back and messaging me back, so I guess you could say I have some good rays. Not actually. And shortly after I got his snap, but guys, we actually are so similar. Like, it's actually insane. But the only problem is that he is not in the same state as me and he lives very far. So basically what happened was the first day that I had him added or texted him, we talked for literally the whole day. Like, when I first messaged him, I was so scared. I was like, this is gonna be the driest conversation I've ever had because I do not know how to talk to boys. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be so bad. But it wasn't, and it turned into us talking for like 4 hours straight. Guys, and he's actually so nice, and it makes me so mad that he lives so far. Like, what do you mean? Sorry, I'm putting this back on because I need it more. Anyways, so a couple days come around, and we weren't really talking that much. Like, the first day we were talking a lot, and then like the 2 days after that we weren't really. And I was like, wow, that was really short-lived. I mean, it's not like I was expecting us to like start like dating, like, you know, but like I expected that to happen. But then yesterday he texted me again and I was like, okay, hi. I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, guys. So when he texted me, I was so excited, but I was actually really scared because I was like, what am I even supposed to say? But then, guys, we literally talked. Okay, it was 1 a.m. my time and 3 a.m. his time. Like, that's insane. Are you kidding me? Like, that's crazy. Like, that is insane. Like, I'm not even kidding. We texted for like 2.5 hours straight. Like, that's crazy. And he actually has such good morals. Like, it's actually insane because like people in my town, let's just say they are not the best people. Like, actually, guys, I have so many stories to tell you that I could tell you about things that have happened to me with boys. I have the worst luck. Like, actually, let me know if y'all want to hear some of those stories. But anyways, the boys in my town do very bad things, so it was actually so nice to hear someone that like doesn't do those things, you know? Okay, and I was gonna ask him to FaceTime, but guys, I'm actually so scared. Like, What am I even supposed to talk about? Let me know if I should, or like if y'all have suggestions of what we should talk about. Like if I call, like what do I talk about? Let me know. Okay, I'm so scared he's gonna see this because we're literally mutuals, because this is the account that I saw his TikTok on. Okay, like I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself, but I swear if he lived closer, okay, he's literally me in boy form. Like I'm not joking. Like I'm not even being dramatic. Like guys, y'all don't understand. He's literally the same as me. Okay, this is off topic, but a lot of people ask what the lip product I use. It's the OG lip product. It's so good. It's like this buttery consistency, and it just goes on your lips so good, and it stays all day. I love it. This one's in the shade Nolana. Usually I use like the lighter one, but I've been liking the darker one recently because it's like fall, winter, you know. Anyways, guys, let me know if y'all think I should FaceTime him or like what I should do, because I don't know what to do. Okay, but yeah, guys, that's my get ready with me and my update on TikTok boy. Also, if we have any name suggestions, because we have to come up with like a code name, yeah, let me know. Anyways, bye guys, love y'all.
Hi, get ready with me while I tell you about the time I figured out I was getting cheated on through my fucking TikTok comments. This story happened a long time ago. I'm sure you know who it's about. Everybody goes to the lake. Everybody catches COVID at the lake. Me and my ex quarantined apart for like 5 days, and then we're like, hold on, this is dumb. We both have COVID, let's just quarantine together. So we weren't physically with each other 5 days. So I ended up going over there to quarantine, and I posted TikTok of him, whatever, how I fucking normally would. And this Bailey girl comments on it, and she's like, oh, I was just texting him, LOL. And I was like, bitch. I didn't even say anything back. I didn't even tell him about the comment. I was like, dude, fuck this bitch. Like, whoever she is, I'm so confident in my relationship. Fast forward, I end up going through that fucking phone while he's asleep, and I don't find anything. And I'm like, yeah, no, fuck this. I go and DM that Bailey girl, and I'm like, hey, what the fuck? And she's like, oh, add me on Snapchat so I can send you screenshots of it. Screenshots? Oh my god. She sends me screenshots of him texting her on Instagram, and he's like, hey, I saw you on my For You page, you're so pretty, oh my god. She knew me. She said that like she had been following me for however fucking long. She texts him back on Instagram, she's like, don't you have a girlfriend? And he says, I don't be on here that much, fucking, here's my number. I completely ignored the girlfriend thing. So what does she do? She texts him, of course. This is whenever we were quarantining separate, whenever they were texting each other. I love your leg tattoos so much. I love men with leg tattoos. That's so hot. All he says back to that is, preach. She fucking sends 9 pictures. Hey, I like your leg tattoos. Here's my fucking titties. Even though I know you have a girlfriend and I follow her on TikTok. I'm not gonna lie. After I saw that, I quit reading the screenshots. I don't even respond. Like, I'm like, holy shit. So I put my phone down. My friend calls me and she's like, hey, this girl I work with wants to know if you're still with him because she has something to tell you. I see what's up with that, and it's everything you could imagine what was going on with them. And she also knew me because we went to school together. So I text his sister and I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do. And she's like, girl, I was just about to text you. I just saw him on fucking Tinder. He sends me a screenshot of his account on Tinder. So we broke up.
The Lord must have answered my prayers on finding a man who knows how to treat me right, because why did my first date with this kid just go like this? So I meet this said boy in one of the classes that I randomly switched into, and my professor had mentioned this kid to me before because he also missed the first week of class, and I didn't know who it was, but we ended up sitting by each other randomly, and we were like, oh, you missed class too. So yeah, we become friends, and then he's like, hey, do you want to get food? And you know, with all my failed attempts at anything ever with men, I was just like, you know what? Sure. Free food, something casual, we're friends, like, you know. So I'm like texting him the day of, I'm like, we're just going somewhere casual, right? Like, what should I wear? And he's like, I already made reservations. And I'm like, oh. So then I was like, this is about to be a date. So I was fine with it. So I put on my little red dress. Tell me why this man pulls up in the nicest car that I have ever stepped foot in. I was like, what is going on? First of all, he's standing outside the passenger door waiting for me, compliments me, opens up the door for me, men take notes, closes the door behind me, and gets in. This car has like a whole TV screen on it. You guys saw me post in the M4. That was his car. Then he brings me to a really nice restaurant, and we have a really nice dinner, and like, it was great. Like, it was just good, real conversation. Like, it wasn't wasn't awkward, you know, like we were already kind of friends by that point. So it was just like, it was just fun. Most importantly, he pays for the dinner, and then we're right by the mall, so I'm like, hey, can I run in really quick and buy myself a skirt for the game tomorrow? I wanted the Lululemon Align skirt, which is already just like an expensive skirt for no reason. He bought it for me. He bought me the skirt on the first date. Like, hello? And this wasn't like a, yeah, you can pay for it. I was like, no, like, I got it. I'll pay for it. You pay for dinner. Like, I pay for my own things. People don't pay for me. But you pay for it. Like, hello? Why are these women settling? To top it off, of course, we stopped and got dessert, and then we drove back. He dropped me off, you know, wished me a farewell. He didn't try no funny business. It was all respectful, which is like honestly a first time for me. Like, I'm so sorry if my standard is that low, but like the amount of guys that just like cannot leave without anything on the first date, it's so embarrassing and so annoying. So I was so refreshed by that whole entire night. It was quite literally the best date I've ever been on, and he let me make a TikTok in his car. Like, that was like, what? And on top of that, today he gave me and my dad free tickets to go to his race this weekend. So yeah, that's how my first date, not just first any date, first date in a long time went. And it's hilarious because literally right before I went out with him, I made a whole video on the fact that I just hate men. And I made that because I totally thought that's what I believed in, and that chivalry was dead, and that this was just gonna be like another like first date, you know. But no, guys, I have met my match. I have been proven wrong. Not to mention, he didn't just open my car door every single time we got in and out of the car, which was frequently. He opened every single door for me, and he still does so and gets mad when I don't open my own doors, even going to class. So yeah, man, I think you need to take notes, or my standard is just unbelievably low right now, but I feel like you just set the bar pretty high. Compared to my past, at least, this is definitely an improvement. But yeah, all in all, my first date went really well. Real conversations, no funny business, chivalry. Keep it coming. But yeah, I gotta go. Hope you enjoyed my little first date story time. Peace out. Love you guys. Bye.
Get ready with me while I tell you about my horror story as an au pair in Spain this summer. Okay, so for you that don't know what an au pair is, it's basically a live-in nanny, but abroad. So I did mine in Spain. Okay, my light just died. But basically, I had been searching for months, and I finally came across this perfect family. There were 2 daughters. One was 9 and one was 8. Basically, I had a phone call with them, and they were perfect, so we ended up signing the contract. So I started at the beginning of June. Mind you, I have never been to Europe before, and this was my first time ever flying that far alone. My brother was in Italy, and so I ended up meeting him there, and we hung out for a week before I took my flight to Spain. I landed in Spain, and I took the bus to their town, and the dad ended up picking me up, and he was super nice. He was very welcoming, gave me a hug, and while we were walking to the house, because this is a town where, like, everything is walkable, you don't really take cars. While we were walking to the house, we found out that we had mutuals, which is, like, really crazy to think about because they live in Spain and I live in California. But I knew a family that was going to be in that town that summer. I just randomly like figured it out, and it was the same family, and so it was just like really weird how that all played out. Then the dad walked me to the school to pick up the girls, and I ended up meeting them, and they were both really shy at first, but they were honestly just like super adorable, and I was so excited to be in Spain with them. We walked up to the house, I got moved in, it was perfect. And this is where things started to go wrong. One of the daughters moved in with her sister, so they were sharing a room, and I took one of the daughter's rooms. I took the older one. And so obviously she's not used to that, and she had been living in her own room this whole time and now has to like get up and move her stuff for me. And I think that is where our first issue started. But anyways, the first week went by and it was great, honestly. Like, we had so much fun. I would drop them off at school at like 8, and then I'd pick them up around 4, and I'd have the whole day to myself. I made au pair friends. Honestly, it was great. Then the second week came around. As an au pair, a lot of people know this. This is just like an au pair rule. But weekends, you get completely free. You're allowed to travel. You're allowed to do whatever you want, and that was in my contract. I was able to do whatever I wanted. That Saturday, I went out with my au pair friends, and obviously we went out really late. I came back around like 3 a.m. and honestly, they don't care. I asked them, I was like, do I have a curfew? They're like, no, do whatever you want. Obviously, like, I was quiet when I came back. We're in Spain, you know? Then the next morning, obviously, I wasn't feeling 100% because I'd been out really late, had some fun with the girls, and we all woke up, to get breakfast. They made us breakfast because we always have breakfast together on weekends. And they went to go see their horses. So I was home alone for like 3 or 4 hours. They did ask me if I wanted to go with them, and I said no, I'm okay, because I had to plan a trip because my mom was going to visit me because they had a week trip planned, and so I had a week to do whatever I wanted, and so my mom was just going to come. We were going to go travel together. But yeah, so they get home from horseback riding, and the older daughter, comes up to me. Little daughter is on a trip right now, so she's not here. And the older daughter is like, hey, like, can we hang out? Can we do this? Can we do that? And I'm like, oh, okay, like, sure. Even though it was my day off, I went outside and I played with her for like probably an hour or two. And we were kind of just playing soccer, and she started to be mean. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in my room. Like, I can't do this right now. So then I go back into my room and I'm just like hanging out, planning my trip. I'm on the phone with my mom. I end up hanging up on my mom multiple times because she keeps coming in. And she starts like asking me to hang out again. I'm like, oh, like, I just hung out with you. Like, can I have a little bit of time to like just chill with myself? Mind you, I am off the clock. I already spent 2 hours hanging out with her on a day that I'm off, and I get paid $75 a week. That is nothing for a full-time nanny. I guess au pairs just like don't get paid that much. Okay, yeah, so she comes into my room and she's asking me to hang out, and I'm like, okay, like, not now. Like, I'm kind of trying to plan something. And she's basically just like, no, you're not. You're on TikTok. No, you're not. You're on TikTok. I'm like, okay, well, I'm like planning things on TikTok. I was like looking up restaurants and stuff. And she just like did not believe me, and she was like messing with me, and she starts jumping on the bed. Yes, it is her bed, but like in that moment it was mine, and so she's jumping on it with her shoes on, and I'm just kind of like, whoa, like I'm kind of getting annoyed, you know? And then she keeps coming in and out, and I had like a water bottle that I bought from like the store, just a plastic water bottle, and she comes in and she's like, this is my water bottle. I'm like, no, I bought it. And so she like went and told her mom on me, and she's like, Brielle stole my water bottle. I'm like, no, I literally bought this at the store. I showed her the receipt. Like, she was just really getting on my nerves at this point. Mind you, they are not fluent in English at all. So us translating had to do a lot with like translating on the phone and just like trying to figure out things with like our hands and stuff. Okay, so that goes on for like 4 hours, and I'm not kidding. Like, her just like trying to hang out and stuff. And I get mad, and I'm like, okay, can you please leave? And she's like, no. And I'm like, no, like, please, I'm doing something, like, can you please leave? I'm being very polite. Mind you, she's still accusing me of things, and I'm just getting really annoyed. And so finally, I should have never done this, but I was just like, out. I pointed my finger and I was like, please leave, I'm doing something. And she basically said, okay, if you can't hang out with me now, I'm gonna tell my dad that you can't have dinner with us. I was like, sure, go ahead, like, do that. Mind you, I had today completely off. Like, this day I had completely off. I could do whatever I wanted. I could rot in my bed. I could go travel. I could do whatever I wanted. So then she leaves, and a few minutes later, I get a knock on my door, and it's the dad, and he's like, Brielle. And I was like, oh, hi. And I open the door, and he lays it on me. He starts yelling at me. He's like, how dare you disrespect my daughter like this? You are a part of this household. You need to act like it. And if you don't want to act like it, we won't feed you. And so I'm like, whoa, okay. And I'm not dramatizing anything. Like, this was a full ass, like, he was yelling at me. And so I was like, whoa, okay. So I like went back into my bed. This, like, it was like probably like a 2-minute like lecture. And I had like anxiety rush all the way down my neck. Like, I have photos of it, and I was just like stressed, like literally like shaking. I would never been like yelled at like that before in my life. So like I called my mom and I was like, what the actual hell just happened? And she was like, oh my god, that is not okay. And I'm like literally crying. I'm like, holy crap. And so I pretty much stayed in my room for the rest of the day because I was like genuinely scared of the dad, and the dad had to go on a work trip the next day for the next week, so I didn't have to see him. But yeah, him yelling at me was the start of all the problems. And so that was on a Sunday. So the next morning I wake them up to go to school. Mind you, I'm doing this all by myself. The parents are getting ready for work, and sometimes they even leave before I get the daughters up. So I'm trying to wake them up for school, and they're being mean. They are yelling at me. They are saying stuff in Spanish, and I actually voice recorded some of them, and I sent them to my friend that's fluent in Spanish, and I was like, what are they saying? And they were basically just saying like, you get to go out at night, therefore we don't have to go to school. And so like I'm texting the mom, and I'm like, they are being horrible this morning, like I don't know what to do. And she was just like, it's okay if they're late, like that's fine. Like I don't even know what ended up happening. I get at some point they both got up and the older daughter left and went to school and didn't say a word to me because the older daughter can walk alone. Okay, and then so basically for the next 2 weeks, stuff like that was happening. I am like running out of time, so I'm gonna make a part 2.
Imagine being 12 years old and having the same bones broken over and over and living to tell the tale. On the evening of July 29th, 1995, 12-year-old Thaddeus "Thad" Phillips and his sister was sleeping on the couch in their new home in Baraboo, Wisconsin after dinner with their family. Their parents had already gone to bed while Thad and his sister watched TV, eventually both dozing off. At one point, someone picks Thad up off the couch, but he doesn't react right away as his father would often do this, carrying him to his bed. When he wakes up, he's disoriented as he notices he was outside. He looks up to see an older teen boy who seemed friendly and like a family friend asking him for help with his car, stating that it was just up the hill. The mysterious boy introduced himself as Joe, and even though Thad was still sleepy and confused, he followed the boy half a mile up to his home. Joe stated that he would be having a party and named several names of boys that Thad was familiar with from school, stating they would be there soon. In the meantime, he asked if Thad wanted to check out his model cars upstairs. He followed, unaware of the violence that awaited him. As soon as they made it up the stairs, Joe shed his friendly teen persona even though he was 17 years old. He quickly grabbed Phillips, throwing him on the bed, jumped on him and grabbed him by the ankle. Then, he twisted Phillips' foot around his leg until the bone above his ankle snapped and splintered. Afterwards, he sits on the bed with his hands on his head. Phillips, who was in shock, tries to make a run for it. He makes it down the stairs and to the kitchen before he's grabbed and put in a chokehold, then dragged to the living room where he's thrown on the couch. Joe then pulls his right leg up and above his head and forces it so far back that Phillips' thigh bone fractures. Afterwards, Joe again becomes a normal person and converses with Phillips, telling him all about his life and how he lives in this dirty house with his brother. Phillips asks him why he's doing this, and he states that he loves the sound and feeling of breaking bones. He then asks why he doesn't just do it to himself, to which Joe replies that he's tried but can never get the angles right. Then Phillips asks if he's done this before to others, and Joe replies yes. Phillips would later find out that he's not the first victim. In the morning, Phillips asks to call his parents. Shockingly, Joe agrees, but the phone wasn't connected. Phillips tried to plea and bargain with him to let him go, stating that he would say that he tripped and fell, but Joe replied that no one would believe it. They spent half of the day watching TV in the dirty living room until Joe takes Phillips back upstairs to his room. He puts Phillips on the bed again, this time grabbing his left ankle, and twists it until his ankle breaks, but he doesn't stop there. He continues twisting until his skin looks like a twisted rubber band and his feet are completely backwards. Phillips tried to fight back by hitting him in the head and the back, but it would just anger Joe. Joe grabs a pillow, suffocating Phillips with it while threatening him. He tells him to hold the pillow there and not fight back or scream or else he'll break his back or neck. Phillips 100% believed him and never cried or gave way to how terrified he really was. Joe kept taking breaks, going out to his car and then coming back angry and ready to inflict more damage in frustration of his car not working. He would also pretend to play friends and nurse with Phillips, talking to him as normal and using leg braces and wraps to aid his injuries. When he put the leg braces on him, he tried to make him walk. At one point, they were standing at the foot of the stairs when Joe pushed him down. Phillips fell down the flight of stairs on his back. He's also starting to swell up from his injuries and the pain is unbearable. His right ankle is the size of a softball and his thigh was the size of a basketball. Later that night, Joe leaves the house, leaving Phillips upstairs alone. As soon as Phillips hears the car leave, he takes the chance to make a break for it. He crawls to the top of the stairs, throwing himself down head first. When he got to the bottom, he passes out for a little while. He crawls to the living room, passing out multiple times along the way from the severity of his injuries. However, Joe comes back home before Phillips can even make it to the kitchen, to the phone, and finds him. This is when things take an even darker turn.
There's this one girl on TikTok right now, I think her name is like Emma Jordan, and right now she's getting a lot of hate over her obsession of being boy pretty or being like appealing to guys or whatever. I feel like no one's really talking about how she probably wasn't even always this way. Like somebody probably convinced her that that's what she needed to be, and now she's just continuing the cycle. Like what even is boy pretty? Like what do you mean how to be boy pretty? You're talking about nothing and you're yelling at that. Here's a little Rihanna advice session, and this is why the Barbie movie is one of those movies you're gonna have to rewatch, because the message is so simple yet so easy to forget. But spending all of your energy worrying about appealing to the likeness of someone else is exhausting and a waste of your precious time. The simple fact of the matter is that you can try this surgery, you can try this look, you could bend your leg all the way upside down and flip it and throw it across the street and catch it, and people will still say that you're not attractive in their opinion. You could even be labeled as the prettiest girl in the world and someone will be like, oh, she not all that, she chopped, this, that, and the third. I'm so sorry if any of y'all watching had been led to believe that you need to change this or you need to change that in order to be attractive and get all the boys. You do not. You don't need to be boy pretty, you don't need to be girl pretty, you don't need to be deer pretty. pretty or fox pretty or whatever y'all got going on this app anymore. You need to be you pretty. Literally all of these beauty standards are temporary and they're pulling insecurities out of their butthole and people are just running with it. And no shade to the people who are trying to follow her advice, but you're gonna let a random girl on TikTok dictate your whole personality and looks who doesn't even really know you? I don't know about that one. The real gag is I guarantee that none of y'all watching this are ugly. It's just that y'all compare yourself to unrealistic standards. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so no one can sit there and be like, oh, this is how you be attractive. Like, what? Who are you? We are finished. Deuces, deuces, and deuces.